Hey, friends! I'm Jesse Fisco.
And I'm Ambry Fisco.
As founders of several successful businesses, we've experienced absolute joy and satisfaction working together to build our empire.
Our journey started off as a small business idea and has launched into a multi-million-dollar portfolio. It would have never been possible had Jesse and I not understood the key principles of making it all work together. But it has not been easy.
We found ourselves in the trenches trying to balance real life with business life while maintaining our strong commitment to creating an amazing marriage.
And we've emerged in a beautiful way together. This podcast was created to help you do what we've done, build an amazing marriage together while maintaining balance between life and business.
So here we are. You're listening to the Matrimonial Merger, a couple's guide to balancing life and business.
Let's get started.
Thank you all so much for listening to the Matrimonial Merger. This is Jesse and Ambry. We are super excited to be here today. It's been a heck of a day, has it not?
Correct.
You can just hear it in your voice. Oh, it must be like 9 o'clock at night.
Recording these at my bedtime.
At bedtime at 9 o'clock at night. And last one of the episodes we had, we drank like an energy drink right at the tail end of the night. I don't remember sleeping that night. Do you?
I did, but I don't want to make that a habit.
Yeah, let's not make that a habit. Well, Ambry, I'm super excited today to be talking because this is something that a lot of people need to hear. This is something you and I needed to hear, 6 months ago almost? 5 months ago?
4 or 5 months?
4 or 5 months ago?
Somewhere in there. I don't know.
It really resonated with us, and we want to share that with you guys now today. So before we jump into today's topic, just want to kind of ask you guys a couple of questions, you as the listeners. Do you ever remember a time where you had no idea what you're about to get yourself into? Or, were you a little confused and anxious, maybe nervous, but really you had no other choice but to just do it and embrace it and literally, quote, fake it, unquote? That's what today's episode is. I think we can all remember a certain time, whether it was like in high school when the teacher said, hey, get up there and give a book report, and you didn't read the book, and you get up there and just kind of fake what you heard all your other friends say. Sometimes we do that as like parents, right? Well, I don't know how to control this kid. I'm just going to give it my best and just throw out a big hoorah, right?
I will say, I think that this episode will apply to a lot of areas and also parenting, but I don't know if you can ever take the faking it out of parenting sometimes. Can you truly take the faking it out of parenting? I don't know. I don't know either. Maybe we'll answer that question by the end of this podcast.
We would love to hear what you guys have to say, because I think that what's nice about this episode is there will still be levels like we were talking about where you do kind of fake it and you still have to fake it, but hopefully
it's redefining what that means, I guess, and giving it a different light.
Exactly. Instead of feeling like you're not ready to go, after today's episode, you're going to have confidence going into the unknown, and you're not going to be as nervous or feel like you're unprepared. So with that being said, today's episode is on faking it. And you don't have to fake it anymore. The issue with faking it, and whatever that looks like for you, is that by doing so, you are succumbing to the idea that you're not fully in control of your situation. Have you ever been not fully in control behind the wheel of the car?
Ooh.
No, you're in control, right?
Hope not.
Right. It
made me think there. I'm no.
No, right?
Is that a trick question?
You are in full control, but you're also never going to get to the destination that you want by faking it, because the destination is going to be clouded by fears, doubts, and there's literally nothing to guide you there. Really, the problem is you just haven't created a design or a map of where you're actually going, and because you haven't created that, you're faking it.
Makes sense.
So today's episode, Ambry, we're going to talk about this, but today is the day we stop faking our dreams and start making them an actual reality.
Sweet. So if I won $1 million in my dream last night, is that like...
Let's make it a reality, right?
Just kidding.
Yeah, like whatever it takes.
Okay, so what's so detrimental about quote unquote faking it? What does that mean? Why is that what we're trying to get away from?
Well, that's a great question. I think what we're really trying to get away from is the fact that we are, that question there just like threw me for a loop. No, I guess I'm faking it right now with that question, right?
What does it look like when you're faking it and you feel like that's like, not what you want to be doing?
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately...
What are some examples?
I think that you start to cheat yourself. Literally. And then you start making these subtle excuses like, hey, I have a goal of making X amount of dollars or losing X amount of weight. And you get close to it, right? Like, okay, let's use weight loss, right? Because everyone can relate with that. I mean, we all have something we want to lose on our bodies somewhere. Or gain.
That muscle.
Yeah, I like that. That will be another episode on like what if versus what if, right? Like, so we all have something we want to lose or gain with our bodies. But like, did you fully lose or gain what you wanted, or did you come within 3 pounds before you stopped, right? Sure, you started seeing results and stuff, but you cheated yourself those 3 pounds.
Yeah. So you're saying like, did you actually have like a very specific set goal and knew what that was going to look like? Or was your goal just kind of like, oh, cool, I'd be happy if I did this, or even get close to it, or, whatever.
Right. You start cheating yourself for what you truly want, right? Like if you have a goal of, hey, I want to do 50 push-ups and you do 48 push-ups.
You're close enough.
You're close enough, right? Oh, I did it, right? And then naturally, I feel like sometimes we just kind of round up and go, I did 50 push-ups.
Or the other thing is like, say 40 push-ups is like pretty easy for you. Then is 50 push-ups like even a good goal?
Sure.
If it's not like, really like nearly impossible. Like if it's not, like if you can do 40 push-ups easy, like 50 is not that, not that many more.
So by faking it, you're also cheating what you could actually do, right? Because you're like, let's just do 50 instead. I'm really good at 40,
not really
no
sure
pressure.
What I can do or what my potential is. I'm just going to like, just going to do something.
So what you're saying is you start to become average and just okay with a life of mediocrity?
That could very well be the case, yes.
I mean, because you're just cheating yourself a little here and there. Yeah. I mean, I think about like, you're on a strict diet and then all of a sudden you're like, some crumble cookie sounds good tonight. Man. I'm going to have a nibble, right? You cheat yourself of that opportunity. Because you followed such a strict diet or such a strict regimen the entire time, you just cheat yourself. And ultimately, because you did that one time, you start cheating in other aspects of your life, whether that's cheating on your food, cheating on your sleep, like whatever the case, you start to cheat yourself. Sure. By cheating yourself, you don't really gain any confidence, right? I mean, there's not a ton of confidence in yourself. And in most cases, it feels like you're literally rolling the dice every single time you choose to play. And somehow, in some cases, you get lucky. But then eventually, in the back of your mind, there starts to be like, how many times am I going to get lucky before I don't? Yeah.
You need to like identify that, once again, going back to like the analogy before, like that roadmap, that, destination, so that you can keep doing it again and getting those results again, and not just being like, oh, cool, well, I was very successful at that. Like, I have no idea how or why, but that worked. Great. All right, let's do something else now. So, like, if you can identify why and what you did, then all of a sudden you're not faking it anymore. And you're like, I know this is exactly what I need to do to get the same result, or even help someone else get that same result. And I'm not faking it.
Exactly. I mean, while you're faking it though, like, and I know for you, this will hit really close to home.
Oh, great.
But imagine walking through a cave of spiders.
Oh, gosh. I don't like that.
Right? But let's say you had no choice but to walk through a cave of nasty,
literally like that.
8-legged freaks, just creepy crawling all over your body.
Where are you going with this? Because I'm not.
Well, let's say there's no other way,
image.
right? Let's say you're faced with this,
Okay,
and you have to go through this cave. Are you faking it and just going through this cave?
No, I'm bringing a torch and hairspray.
Right, you're doing something for preparation. But like, let's say now you get into this cave and you have a choice to go right or left.
Oof.
Okay, and right is a faster, more efficient way, and left is 15 miles of cave full of nasty spiders. But you don't know that, right? So naturally,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure I'd turn around and go right back out.
right? But like, if at the end of this cave is your destination, right?
Yeah.
So are you limiting yourself because of this? But really, it's because you don't have a plan. You don't know what to expect here, and so you're literally walking through this cave of nasty, freaking disgusting spiders, webs in your face.
Because I didn't see the right hand.
See the
better
vision
route that, interesting.
And in some cases, like you just mentioned,
that's a really, really awful analogy.
I want this to seep
Let's
in.
not ever use the cave of spiders analogy ever again.
For those of you that hate spiders,
I hate them like with every fiber of my being.
Now you'll never, like every time you think about this, you'll think of this cave of spiders, right? And that's the goal here, guys, is to really get you to think about this. So let's dig deeper a little bit first before we get into actually a good plan on how to fix this, right? When you don't have a plan or the destination and you're shooting from the hip, you start getting blinded by multiple options as well.
The shiny object syndrome.
Oh my gosh. I'm a sucker for that. And before like actually hearing this from a mentor of ours, like I literally got distracted. I mean, you look in my office, there's books that we had written for real estate. You look over, there's some notepads that like we spent 2 weeks handing out a bunch of notepads to people. And then you look over and there's who knows
a lead generating thing.
Yeah, and who knows how many pieces of camera equipment. I think I'm up to 6 different cameras. And I don't even do a lot of video
not
stuff.
Necessarily a bad thing, but good to identify, like, are you getting blinded by too many options or too many things, like, and not sticking to your map or what you know. So do you have an example of that? Because
I mean, I think looking at it, like, without the map, you're literally a child in a candy store.
Oh,
right?
That's a great visual. I like that one.
I mean, how many times have you been in the candy store with your child or with a niece or nephew with a child? Doesn't matter. Maybe even you as yourself as a child. And you look at every option of candy.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
I want this one. No, wait, I want that. Oh, and I need this one. Oh my gosh, look at this over here.
Like even the frozen yogurt shop where you make your own frozen yogurt. How many toppings do you put on there? And before you know it, you put on the scale and you're like, holy crap, 20 ounces of ice cream.
I know if it's our daughter, she's got like the chocolate ice cream and the cotton candy ice cream, maybe some like mango mixed in there. And that's already a recipe for disaster.
That can't even taste good.
I know, it's so gross. And then you go add like the cookie dough and the gummy worms and the like rock candy and sprinkles and hot fudge and like all this just random.
And side note, she'll eat every single bite and she'll even offer it to you and you're like, whoa, barf. Like, no way am I actually going to take a bite of that nasty.
Oh, thanks for the offer.
Like,
no. Like you better enjoy that all to yourself.
But she'll eat it, right? But that's what it is you get distracted, the shiny object
like
syndrome.
There's all these amazing looking toppings and things to put in. Like, I don't have an idea of, am I going for fruity? Am I going for chocolate? Am I going for like, shortcake? Like, what am I doing? It's like all just a mix of mess.
Yeah.
And I mean, she'll eat it, but that can't taste good.
No.
That's got to be like, and the funny thing about that is that, like, now we're getting off on a little tangent here, but the funny thing about that is that, she's got everything that she thought she wanted on this ice cream. And then like, oh, Mom, Dad, can I try yours? Oh, yours is really good.
Right.
Like, wow. What did you do? Well, I didn't mix the Fruity Pebbles with chocolate and peanut butter and like who knows what else.
I didn't get those little like gummy,
I
weird, like
hate
fish
those.
egg looking things and mix it with
I don't even
chocolate
know
and
what those
peanut
are
butter.
called, but I do not like those. They're like are they like the things that they put in those
Bobas.
boba? Yeah,
I think so.
Ugh, I don't like those.
No, they can't be good for you either.
But like, correlate that to like your business or your life. Like if you are literally going crazy with no plan and just all these toppings, like you're going to get to the end and be so excited to dig your spoon in and you're like, wait a minute, like what is this? What did I even do? And it makes no sense. And you're like, I don't even know what's going on. Whereas like if I go, I know I love the chocolate, the peanut butter, like I've got a theme and I know, and I've got the recipe for success.
Exactly. And you know it's going to be good. You already know before you have to take a bite, it's going to be good.
I might add some new like things in the mix, but they all kind of fit into like my general plan and theme of like chocolate and peanut butter.
Right.
And
delicious.
Yes. Whatever.
Very, very
Anyways.
good. But I think like let's really dig deep there for just a second. Like how many of your guys' lives is kind of like our daughter's ice cream? Right? Like you start picking, ooh, I like this. And you start to add that. And you really haven't decided that that's what you truly like. But, oh, man, I definitely need this, right? Mm-hmm. Like there are so many different things. I'm trying to think of like a good example. But like think about decorating your house, right? Mm-hmm. Like all of a sudden you're decorating your house and you see this vase and you're like, I have to have this vase. And so you go buy this vase. And then you like are at the store too, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this sugar skull looks amazing." I'm a huge sugar skull fan, like really quick. And so then you buy this vase and the sugar skull, and you put them next together on the shelf, and it just looks terrible, right? There's no plan there. There's no design. It's literally just like you're going back and forth. And does your life look like that at times, where it's just literally a blend of a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, totally.
Can you tell me, like, you would have confidence in that? Like, I think there'd be little inklings of confidence here and there, but...
It goes back, to, like, you got to know what you want, and you have to know what you like. Like, I mean, identify that. And that's something that, like, for me can be a difficult thing, like, really being able to know, like, what is it that I want? What is my plan? What is my goal? How am I going to get there? Also reminds me of like when Jesse and I are first married, we had several times when we would decide like, oh, we need to like, let's do like a diet together or something. Like, let's really get in like the best shape. And, we would, pick some kind of, maybe not even diet, but like clean eating or diet or whatever it was. We would decide like we need some new supplements and we need a plan. And so we would, pick a workout plan, and then we'd go to like the supplement store and spend hundreds of dollars on supplements that, we thought were necessary to achieve our dreams, which great. Like we had an idea, we had that path. So we thought, and then like, because we didn't really have a design of like the end of like, what's 3 weeks from now going to be? Or
even just like, a body style that we are going
like, what
for.
What are we really achieving here? Like, sure, we can buy all these supplements. We can like fake it. Like that, you look at our cabinet, you look at like what we think we're doing. Sure, looks like we're trying to get in shape, but we don't really have a plan, like a long-term plan. And then like literally, what was it, like a few months ago, Jesse was in the cabinet and found like 3 bottles of protein that had been purchased like probably 3 years ago or something.
It was disgusting.
They're just like sitting in there all stale. Somehow they made it through a move with us. Like, I don't even know.
3/4 of the way full.
Yeah. Like we didn't even
chocolate,
hardly use them because
orange and cinnamon.
And like, do you remember the reason why those proteins were purchased and were going to get used? And then what happened?
Well, what happened was we bought them because we were feeling pudgy during coronavirus, right? It was staying inside. So we went in and bought all of these proteins going, heck yeah, we're going to get mega shredded. We even bought a bike. You remember the little bike to sit there?
We did get pretty good use out of that during like quarantine and stuff.
Yeah, I mean
decent for a few weeks.
for a few weeks, and then I don't think
now
I've
it's
sat
in our
on that
basement for
bike. It's probably got more dust than like
yeah. Unfortunately,
I don't
our
even
kids
know.
probably climb on it more than we.
It's got more dust
ride
than
it.
grandma's like antique shelf. You know what I mean? Like
The curio cabinet. In
yes,
the
the
corner.
curio cabinet in the corner. But yeah,
what
those
happened,
proteins were
what
nasty.
happened though is like going back to like not really having like a plan that you are 100% all in, committed. This is it. Like we were just kind of like, oh yeah, like we'll go get some supplements. We'll go, get this protein, whatever. Well, then like a few weeks later decided, oh, maybe we should try keto, or maybe we should, try.
That's right.
Well, then like that protein that we bought doesn't fit in like the keto diet or whatever it is.
Right.
And it's just kind of like a, never ending spiral of.
I could think of like when we went that day, the only thing the only thing that was actually consumed at that time was our pre-workout, and it's because I needed the caffeine.
Yeah.
Like if there's pre-workout in the fridge,
pregnant. I couldn't even drink.
you couldn't even drink it. But there's pre-workout in the cabinet that's going to get gone. Like it's going to be gone no matter what.
Even if it tastes like chalk or like.
But the protein, on the other hand, like it sat there, and then you're right. We did end up going to the keto diet for 2 weeks, and we were going.
I do not like.
I think we went to 3 different stores to find the raspberry ketones.
Oh yes,
and then
raspberry ketones. Anyone else remember when those are like all the rage?
And then all of a sudden, like we're going through our cabinet, and there they freaking are, halfway full, and that's like wasted money.
Just
and
that like shiny object syndrome. Where like, oh yeah, this looks great. Don't really know exactly where this is going to get me, but let's buy this.
And I think that that's really like the frustration, right? You're not confident. You're still, in some cases, you're almost bigger than where you were. Like if we're talking about diet, because your body is going like, what the heck is going on? One minute you're eating all this, the next minute you're not. Like what? And it's confused, and it's not working with you. It's actually working against you. But I really think that any one of us can think of a scenario where they're like, oh my gosh, Jesse and Ambry, yes, this 100%. And they can think of a time where it's literally just, I'm all in for 2 weeks and then I'm out. Yeah. Right.
Oh, totally.
And
like, I mean, so many things like, let's start this new like chore chart or something, or let's start this new, like whatever, insert routine here. Like we're going to try, this is going to be great. I'm so excited. Like, but it has to be realistic, and it has to be like, you can't just create something that isn't going to, you can't continue the consistency. Like you have to be consistent. And that's kind of like just talking about like routines and things that are going to keep your life moving and keep you able to grow. But I don't want to, like I said the word realistic, and then I'm like, okay, yes, realistic and consistent, but also like, I know that you and I both believe that goals also need to be very almost impossible.
Unrealistic.
Like consistency needs to be realistic. Like you've got to be able to, like if you tell yourself like, hey, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to work out 8 times a week. Like that may not really be feasible or realistic per se, right? But like the actual end goal of like, I'm going to have a 6-pack, I'm going to have like what is the end going to be? Like it needs to be almost where you're like, can I actually do that? Like, can I actually do that? And then once you create the plan between now and between that 6-pack or whatever that is, all of a sudden now like you are able to find the resources and get there because you've created the map. But like, it can't just be like, okay, today I weigh this and I don't have a 6-pack, but in 6 months I want to have a 6-pack. Okay, the end. Like you have to have every week planned out between now and then. And that's where the realistic consistency comes in. But the actual end goal needs to be like, holy crap. Like this is like
what you truly want.
Yeah, it's what you want. But at first with maybe some of like the limitations you might feel, you're going to be like, I don't even know if I can do that. But then as you like set that goal and create the map and the design to get there, that's when it becomes a reality.
Amen. I'm done. We could just end it right there. really quick, and this is kind of off the cuff and kind of an interesting tangent, but I don't know if you saw this or not, but it really, really spoke to me, like hardcore. You know John Madsen?
Yes.
He's a big, like, you know, coach, trainer type of guy. Mm-hmm. And did you see his post on Facebook?
Which one?
About his, the most recent one that's been floating around. I think it got shared by a couple people. Anyways, he posted and he said, "This literally happened to me today. I had a client who was ready to make a giant, enormous change, and he bought my coaching program. And his coaching program was a fitness program, right? So this guy had mustered up enough energy and enough like audacity to pick up the phone and call."
For reference or for context, John Madsen, he runs a coaching program or fitness program, whatever, called Suprahuman. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
And so he's saying, like, he's got this gentleman who's signed up, paid a big deposit, ready to go. And then the next day he picks up the phone and calls and says, "Hey, my wife got way upset at me." Like,
did he not tell her?
Way upset. And what it came down to was this guy had never done anything that he said he was going to do to, like, in his entire life, in his entire marriage. So he told his wife, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to make this massive change."
I went and dropped $5,000 on a personal training program.
And instantly
the
rug was ripped out from underneath him. But ideally what happened was he never showed his wife a commitment and followed through something. He literally had a bunch of these, like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Great. I'm going to spend a lot of money. $5,000 for like anything is a lot of money to not be all in. And that's what happened is he spent this money and then instantly his wife's like, "You haven't done a dang thing in your life. Like, you have cheated yourself.
That's what happened.
You have been faking it and cheating yourself this entire time, and you haven't actually done it. What makes me think you're actually going to do it now?" Yeah. Could you imagine if your spouse, like, and if you said that to me,
she's like, "We just wasted $5,000." Like,
Ambry, if you said that to me, I would be an emotional freaking wreck. I'd be over there crying, like, "Suck at life. My wife thinks I'm a failure." Like, but honestly, right? So that's what it is. Now, you hit some really, really good points. And a lot of it is solving the issue of what we're talking about faking it. And honestly, you guys, you don't have to fake it anymore. It's not hard. Yeah. It's not hard to overcome this.
And one thing that I think, like, since we're talking about coaching and, like, for some reason this topic has really gone along the lines of, like, health and fitness, but I think that's something that most people can relate to on some degree. But, like, sometimes you need to, like, look outside yourself and find a coach or, you know, someone that can guide you or give you, like, the resources that you are lacking. Like, use your resources to find additional resources. I think that, like, for us, we had a huge turning point a few months back when we hired a coach. And part of that, we actually ended up doing John's Superhuman program for 4 months because that was included in our coaching. And that was like a game changer for both of us. But I think especially for you, Jesse, like, I think you could probably relate to what that story you were just telling, because it was like, I mean, how many diets have you done in the last 3 years?
So
and
many.
You're just kind of like, "Oh, great. Maybe I lost 13 pounds." And then, you know, it wasn't like an actual consistent change where you had a map and a design and you could actually maintain.
Right. Ironically, I kept getting fatter the more I tried to do different things to, like, maintain my weight.
I didn't know where to
start. And so, like, that's, like, kind of to tie into solving the issue here. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. So, like, Ambry brought up my weight loss journey. I've lost 33 pounds in 14 weeks.
Woo! I'll clap for you because I'm proud. What was the difference? Like, why? Like, we can correlate this with business, relationships, everything. So let's talk about, like, what was the difference for you between, like, let's call them fad diets or short term, like, trying to lose weight or whatever it was years past. Like, we've been married almost coming on 10 years, like in a week. So like what changed over those last 10 years of doing that versus, 4 months ago? What's the difference?
Yeah, I think really what it came down to is totally visualizing what I wanted, how I was going to feel when I lost that weight, what I was going to wear, what my clothes would look like when I put them on, how I would feel, and at what moment would I know I actually got to where I wanted. And I started writing those things down. Then I took the approach with the help of this coaching program, right? And I started to count macronutrients. Literally the simplest thing you could ever do. You put your food, giant piece of chicken, flop right on the food scale. Hey, this is 200 grams. Okay, I log that. Great, I'm eating 50 grams of protein, and this chicken's massive and bland, right? Like, it doesn't have to be difficult. But, like, I would log that onto my phone, and I had numbers that actually were, like, telling me what I needed to do.
So now, like, if you relate that to a relationship or business that we run, like, you now see and understand the input and the output of what you're doing and the results that are following.
Right. Like if you look at it as your relationship, okay, this is what I want out of our relationship. These are our goals that we have together. And these are the things on a day-to-day basis that we need to accomplish together in order to get here. I remember like when we first, like 2 years into our marriage, we said, hey, we're going on a cruise. And the best way we're going to do this is by making these pillows. And we stayed up and we sold pillows over and over and over.
We both worked like pretty traditional, like 8 to 5 or whatever jobs. And then, we would sew pillows on our downtime.
And we would do that every night religiously. And then we made like, I think enough money to pay for our cruise.
Like at least $2,500. Yeah. We paid for our cruise and we like,
but like we still talk about that cruise as of like the number one cruise, the number one vacation of our life. Right. And it's because sure, it wasn't an awesome moment, but it was because of all the hard work we did together, that confidence that we got that still resonates with us of the memory and the experience. And so same thing here. Like I ended up counting my macronutrients. Within 3 weeks, I had seen, I think like 12 pounds dropped. And I was like, dang, like, hey, this is easy. Like I didn't realize. And then like, I think the moment that really hit me the most is when I sat down to eat a roll. I love carbohydrates, like absolutely. I would take a warm roll with butter over any dessert in the history of mankind. Like I love carbohydrates. And what I realized is when I sat down to eat that roll, that one single roll was all of the carbohydrates I could have in a given day. And I remember like looking at it, looking at the carbs, and then going, Jesse, you would have eaten 3 of these. Like, what?
And that's not even like taking into consideration any other carbs you had throughout the day.
No
like
other
that's
carbs.
Like just at like the family dinner or whatever that
you would have eaten 3 times the amount of carbohydrates that your body needs. No wonder you're fat. That's literally what came to my mind. And it startled me and it changed my mindset. And that was the click at that point. So like I had the plan and I started following the plan. And then as I was following the plan, little subtle things like that would click in and it just motivated the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I look at that and be like, no, roll. I can't have you. Like as much as you taste good, I cannot have you because I would rather have this, this, and this.
Yeah.
But you, cursed roll, are delicious, right? But it like changed my mind. In fact, even tonight, I remember telling you like, hey, like, I don't even like enjoy eating out anymore because it's like it just doesn't feel good to me. Like, and I don't want this whole show to be about weight. That's not the case.
But it's such a good like analogy with like any relationship or business. I mean, if if you're putting fad diets into like trying to make your business successful or your relationship successful, you're not going to get those long-term sustainable results. And that's what we want, is sustainable results, obviously in our fitness, but also especially in our relationships and in our businesses. And so like if you have those fad diets and you're buying supplements and you're kind of just all over the place, that's the kind of results you're going to get, and it's going to be up and down. And, but if you are like quote unquote counting the macros of your relationship or your business, all of a sudden, like you see those roles differently in your business or your relationship, and you're like, oh, that role is the problem.
The way you're speaking right now is like a fresh dinner roll with butter on it. I am over here just like salivating at how like amazing that sounds, because it is true. Like,
so you got to find the roles of your relationship, your business. Like, what are those things that don't fit into the macros?
Is your relationship a fad relationship, or is a relationship meant to last? Because if your relationship's a fad relationship, you're likely going to get divorced.
Whoa.
Like, think about it.
Scorched
earth. Honestly, but that's the truth. If your business goals are a fad business goals,
right,
Blockbuster, you're closed.
Well,
you were a fad for a moment.
That's a real thing. I mean, going back to like, gosh, we have so many angles we're looking at this, but like that shiny object syndrome, like, you know, if in your business and your investments, like you have too many shiny objects you're chasing, then like you're not really. Oh, we talked about yesterday. Do you remember we talked about like when you make an investment or you purchase a property and you're trying to, you know, invest and make the most money, what is it that you figure out about that property? The highest and best use of that real estate, that property. Like
every time.
What is the highest and best use? And we were talking yesterday about like, you have to literally figure out the highest and best use of your brain, your time, your energy. Like, what is the highest and best use? How are you going to get the most out of you and your mind and your time? And like, with that being said, I know that in our like journey and continued journey of, you know, starting businesses and investing and, you know, things, there's been times when like we've maybe jumped into something too quick or made an investment that then we have to take a step back and go like, all right, this looked really cool. And like, it's really exciting to go post on Facebook and be like, look at this new thing we started, or like, look at, you know, this awesome new venture. But like, and that's all exciting. That's the shiny object that we're like focused on. But are we just focused on that shiny object, or is it actually giving us efficient results and helping us with that highest and best use of our time and energy? Because if not, then like you're just kind of doing it because it was like cool or a fad or whatever it was, but it's not actually effective for your time. Like you might be worth way more than what that investment is actually giving you, but because it sounded cool or looked cool, you jumped into it.
Right. Is it a chocolate covered onion and not a chocolate covered apple? Caramel, all right? So you guys, there are ways to solve the issues of faking it. And the number one issue that Ambry and I have talked about multiple times, like we would talk about something and then get right back to it, is creating a plan and creating a vision. And when we say create a plan, create a vision, anyone can say, I'd like $10 million. Well, yeah, we'd all like $10 million. We'd all like to have a body like Thor or Captain America. Like maybe not all of us, but a lot of us would like to be very healthy and fit and have everything we want. But what does that truly mean? And so like one of the things that we're going to really deep dive into as we're concluding this show here is actually deciding what you want and actually creating a plan.
Literally create it. And
right.
That's going to be something that you'll hear from us a lot. Like, you know, and I think it will kind of be a common theme throughout a lot of our episodes, but like you got to know what you want and you have to have like a plan and resources. So
like what we're going to invite you to do today is write down. So whatever it is, right? And then you're going to ask yourself, when I accomplish this goal, I'm going to be wearing this.
This is what it's going to look like.
Pick out an outfit, right? I'm going to be standing here. Pick out your location. I'm going to feel like, pick out your state of mind and the state that you want to be. And then you're going to say, I will know I made this and I achieved this goal because of this experience, and label the experience.
Yeah.
Like for me, I will know that I hit my goal when I look at the scale, and the scale says this, and then I am going to be wearing this, and I'm going to be saying this, and that's literally what I design.
Yeah. Can I share an example, too?
Please.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Some of this mindset is coming from Jesse and I have been doing some neurolinguistic programming coaching the last several months, and this concept goes in line with that. But my little brother, he's 18, and he does Muay Thai, boxing. I don't know. I'm gonna kill the terminology, and he's gonna probably listen to this and be like, or maybe he won't. I don't
MMA.
know, but
MMA. Yep.
But specifically Muay Thai style. But yes, MMA. He's a fighter. So he has his very first fight coming up. It's actually this Saturday, and he was visiting here a few weeks ago and trying to figure out how to keep on his plan while he's literally 2,000 miles away from home and away from his gym and his environment. And he crushed it, by the way. He was amazing, but he needed no help with the actual commitment and consistency of his training. But because we've been doing some of this neuro-linguistic programming, I talked to him about this, and I was like, all right, so have you gone to this facility, arena, whatever, where you are fighting? Have you gone? No, he hadn't. So I'm like, all right, you need to go there. You need to go, you need to walk in, you need to see, so that you can design and imagine when you go there and when you win, or when you whatever that goal is that you have, you will know what it's going to look like, what it's going to smell like, what it's going to taste like what is your reward right after. You've been killing it with your nutrition and training for a long time. What are you going to go eat afterwards that you've been wanting to eat for months and months? Are you going to go have a burger and milkshake? What is it? And design that whole thing. What is it going to look like? Because, and the reason that this is so important is that if you don't do that, your mind does not have the ability to find the resources that it needs to create it, because you haven't seen and you haven't told your mind exactly what it's going to be. And once you do that, then all of a sudden your mind's okay, if this is what we're doing and if this is what's going to happen and this is where we're going to be, I now need to start finding the resources to stick to this plan and to get to this destination. So,
and studies have shown, I love that. And I didn't even know you had that conversation, because I had a similar one.
Oh, you did? We both, NLP through up on him.
Are you standing on the left or the right of the referee? Are you, which hand is being raised? What is it going to feel like when your hand is moving? At that moment, he grabs your wrist. What are you feeling? And then what's it going to feel like when it goes up, right? We really had a cool conversation. What's interesting about that is there's actual studies that have shown that if you live a goal, or try to mimic the goal to the closest experience possible, you actually have created an experience your brain can pull off of and help you relive it.
Because your unconscious mind doesn't really know the difference of what's real and what's not. So it's
exactly.
Oh, well, this must be real. I'm going to create, we're going to do it.
Right. I mean, a lot of us say, okay, hey, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. When we hit 10 push-ups, now it becomes easy. So if our goal is 10 push-ups again, we're going to be able to get to 10 push-ups really fast. And it's because we've experienced it. We've lived that moment. Well, what happens if you're trying to reach a goal you've never lived yet? You're not sitting on a $10 million yacht, right? So what do you have to do to get your mind to feel like you have lived that?
Yeah.
Right.
And that it's actually even though it might seem impossible, it's actually attainable, and you actually do have the resources to do it. You can get there. You just have to.
I'm reminded of the story of the guy that would go to the Porsche dealership, and he'd go and he'd sit in a Porsche every single day, and he'd be made fun of. You're never going to get this Porsche. It's too expensive. You're never going to get there. You're never going to get there. And then one day, it was just normal, he drove the Porsche right off the lot.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, whoa.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He actually did that.
It's because he literally went every single day to the destination where he's going to be, and he made it happen. There's a lot of really cool stuff, and for the sake of time, we can't cover it all in this episode. Yeah. But what we did cover today is super important, and we invite you guys to continue to listen to more episodes, because we will eventually cover all of this stuff.
We'll compound on all of this, and
there's a lot of cool exercises. obviously, we're not going to be able to cover them all today. However, this is what we're inviting you to do. We're inviting you to take that one specific thing you truly, truly want and write it down. Write down that goal. And then write down the day you want to achieve it. And then once you've written down the day, write down what it's going to take to achieve that goal. Start dissecting the heck out of it, right? And then...
And not just like simply, like literally day by day, week by week, like what is the journey to that destination?
I think it's a book, Incognito, that I've been reading that says like literally spend 30 days writing it down. But we'll invite you guys to do like at least 10 minutes and it will change your mind. But write down that certain moment when you know you'll actually hit that goal. What will it feel like? Ambry said taste. What will it smell like? What are you wearing? Where are you standing? Where are you looking? Just dig deep.
What's your reward if there's going to be a reward for it? Like what? Yeah.
Right. Like what are you going to feel and do? And like if it's an MMA fight, what are you going to eat? I already know I'd be eating a cheeseburger. Like, boom, give me that.
I can't wait to find out what he chooses.
But then create the vision of what that day will look like for you. And the more time you focus on this and you start writing it down, like almost every night, if you could focus a full 30 days on it, you would be absolutely stunned and floored, because that goal that you have that was like a dream, an unrealistic goal, for lack of a better word, will be right before your eyes.
Sure.
And it'll be amazing.
Got, like, your unconscious mind on board and you're limitless. So let's go back through that again. So write down that goal, whatever that is for you. Write down your goal. 2, write down when you want to have that goal accomplished. 3, write down, design what it's going to take. What is the journey from now until you achieve that goal? And then 4, write down what's the moment when you will know that you hit your goal? Like, how will you know that you've arrived and you're there?
And let's pause real quick. The reason why you do that is because you may say, hey, like this time, so 2023, June, the last day of June, 2023, this is my timeline, but it may happen in October of 2022.
Yeah.
It may happen sooner. So you need to know and be cognizant of exactly what that
you want, like a time, like I want to have this goal completed by here, but you also need to know, like, aside from that date, how will you know that you reached that goal? Is it going to be like because you have $1 million in your bank account, or because you have, a certain like milestone in your relationship, or is it because you have, a 6-pack, or what is it? Like, how will you know that you've achieved it, so that if you do achieve it at a different time, like both sooner, you'll know.
Because you and your husband or wife went on a dream vacation you never thought you had been able to do, right? This is a marriage show too, and I feel like everything I've talked about is like weight loss and stuff. So have to put a plug in there for, your relationship as well.
So you have to know what it's going to look like when you hit that goal, because once you unlock those resources, it very well could happen a lot faster than you think it will. Mm-hmm. And then like you've got to be able to like realize that, and if that goal has a reward tied to it, you have to go reward yourself. If you hit that goal 6 months early, you're going to reward yourself 6 months early. Anyways, so then number 5 to that was just basically tied along with the last one, but having a vision of what that day will look like. Like what is it going to look like when you hit that goal? And then what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to be wearing? What are you going to be eating? Whatever details go along with that goal, write them down.
And if you're sitting in the car and you're just saying this, go home and write it down.
Yeah.
You have to write it down. I struggle with
that, but yes, you got to write it down.
And like handwriting is better because you're like actually focused on spelling and things and like grammar. But if you can't do that, type it.
Sometimes all I can do is pull out my, like, I have an iPhone, I pull out my notes app, and, I've got a notepad that's just for like, writing my goals or things that I want to do. But if you can write it down and you can, I think that there's power in that.
Absolutely. So we don't promise that you're actually going to reach this goal. However, what you're going to experience will be far more powerful than anything you can imagine.
Boom.
So it might be the goal, or it actually might be your goal times 10. And you're sitting here going, holy crap, Jesse and Ambry, I did this. And I
I had no idea I could do this.
I had no idea. I'm invincible, right?
I didn't know I could like not fake it and actually like be doing it and be effective and
Right.
Know why. Like I know why I'm successful now. It's not just like, oh yeah, cool. Like,
and the confidence that comes from that, you no longer have to feel like you fake a single day in your life anymore.
And then you can rinse and repeat.
Rinse
you
and
can
repeat.
Literally apply that to other aspects of your life, to, your marriage, your business, your fitness, whatever that is. Like
whatever
now
you want.
you can do it and what you need to do, and you're not faking it anymore.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that is today's episode. You do not have to fake it anymore. We have given you the tools, and just a little bit of tools to actually get through to where you don't have to fake your life anymore or feel like you're faking it.
We'd love to hear from you guys. If you want to send us a message at Fisco Frenzy on Instagram. Send us a message. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know send us this list of these 5 things. Like we want this to kind of be engaging, and we want to hear from you. And if you feel inclined, we'd love for you to share our podcast with your friends, fellow entrepreneurs, like whoever it is. If you do post on your Instagram stories, please tag us. We'd love to share it.
Absolutely. Give us a 5-star review to help us grow the show. That is number one best way to help support the show. If you love what you're hearing, that 5-star review is going to be able to get into more lives and more ears. And so definitely would love to hear.
Give us a review, but also send us a message. We want to hear.
Absolutely.
That'll make our day.
You guys, we're talking to our microphone, but we're really wishing you were right here talking to us individually. So please reach out to us. But we really appreciate you all listening, and we hope you guys have a fantastic week, and we cannot wait to bring you back more interesting things that will change your mindset, help your marriage grow, as well as your business.